Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai, Jaya Gaur Nitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Sama Veda Bhakta Varinda ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Oh, glory to symbol the Vaishnavas. Thank you so much for coming. I see my regular customers here. So nice to see you again. It was so inspiring this morning to listen to the morning Srimad Bhagavatam class by Srila Kirti Prabhu. Wasn't it? You liked it? It was amazing. It was supposed to be class on Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? And you just read the verse and just right away direct experience with Prabhupada. And it was so personal. He was giving his pride, and he not being happy. And finally, a whole thing was resolved through the service. We'll try to touch something from that today as well. Okay, let's pray to Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. When we chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, what do you understand by Vasudeva? What is meaning for you, Vasudeva? This son of Vasudeva. But it's a little bit too formal, right? You don't approach son of Vasudeva with such a Om Namo. Son of Vasudeva is Krishna, he's more like, of course, he's Dvarka Krishna, more. You can say king, but even for the kings, Rajavasis, they are not doing like this. Maybe saints, when they do Rajasuya sacrifice, and all chanting mantras, and for Supreme Personality of Godhead, but actually Vasudeva Krishna is different. Although there is one more very important and strong aspect of Vasudeva, which is Chaturyuha also. Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Niruddha. We'll try to connect today's subject to Vasudeva as well. Okay, today's verse is 13th chapter, text 23, right? And it's very, very nice verse. I think we already tried to touch last time when last class, because it's such a compact and very exact definition of who is Supersoul, because this subject of this chapter is consciousness and enjoyer and field of activities, and this is the most important part of the whole thing. Okay? Upadraṣṭānumantā bhartā bhoktā maheśvaraḥ paramātmeti cāpy ukto dehe smin puruṣaḥ upadraṣṭānumantā bhartā bhoktā maheśvaraḥ paramātmeti cāpy ukto dehe smin puruṣaḥ paramātmā.
asmin puruṣaḥ paramātmā. upadraṣṭānumantā bhartā bhoktā maheśvaraḥ.
bhartā bhukta pareśvaraḥ.
paramātmeti cāpy
ukto.
asmin puruṣaḥ paraḥ.
Asmin puruṣaḥ paraḥ.
upadraṣṭānumantā bhoktā maheśvaraḥ.
Paramātmeti cāpy ukto. Dehe smin puruṣaḥ paraḥ.
upadraṣṭānumantā
bhartā bhukta maheśvaraḥ. Paramātmeti cāpy ukto. Dehe smin puruṣaḥ paraḥ.
upadraṣṭānumantā bhartā bhukta maheśvaraḥ.
Paramātmeti cāpy ukto. Dehe smin puruṣaḥ paraḥ. Maharaji? Too small. That's okay.
upadraṣṭānumantā
Bhartā bhukta
maheśvaraḥ.
Paramātmeti cāpy ukto. Dehe smin puruṣaḥ paraḥ. Okay. Synonyms. Upadraṣṭā, overseer. Anumantā, permitter. Cha, also. Bhartā, master. Bhoktā, supreme enjoyer. Mahā-īśvaraḥ, supreme lord. Parama-ātmā, the Supersoul. Iti, also. Cha, and. Api, indeed. Ukta, is said. Dehe, in the body. Asmin, this. Puruṣaḥ, enjoyer. Paraḥ, transcendental. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Purport ki jai. Yet, in this body, there is another, a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor who exists as the overseer and permitter and who is known as Supersoul. Purport. It is stated here that the Supersoul, who is always within the individual soul. That's kind of interesting. Usually we understand that the soul is next to individual soul, right? And here is said that soul is with, not within, sorry, with. With is not within. Achha. Because there is also interesting explanation that the super soul is like a soul of the soul, you know, super soul. Not like the soul and super soul as a size and the Ishvara and so on, but if the body has a soul, then the soul has a soul also. The super soul. It's also a very unusual, interesting concept. Because if Krishna expands, let's say, as a many living beings and also energies and in his abode there's so many associates and so on. So there's some kind of imprint, you know. Prabhupada gave many times example as if there's one candle and you light any other candles, the light is same, practically spiritual, Brahman, the quality is same. But there's original one. And so, in similar way, although Krishna expands, there is a particle of Krishna inside. Usually we see we are particle of Krishna, but because we are expanded, we are small particles of that Krishna, original Krishna, that fiery element, the spark. Prabhupada also gives an example. There's a fire and there's a sparks. And especially you take a stick and beat into the wood, and there's many sparks coming out. So, and any spark has a quality of the Krishna. So there's kind of a little bit Krishna inside. Not only Supersoul, but Krishna, because he's the original one. Okay, he's with the individual soul, and is representation of the Supreme Lord. Representation, expansion, part, whatever. He is not an ordinary living entity, because the monist philosophers take the knower of the body to be one. They think that there is no difference between Supersoul and individual soul. Why would they think that? Why such a misconception? What do you think? Why monists think that there is no difference? And they have very good reason based on Shastra. You'll find out just a second. Any ideas? Because sometimes Shastra say there is another knower, single knower in a body. And they say, oh, okay, there's one knower, that means only one, not two. Actually, yeah, the Shastra scripture says there's a knower in the body, but that means individual soul and Supersoul. So if you don't have knowledge coming from parampara, if you just say, okay, I'm very learned Sanskrit scholar, I understand Sanskrit myself better than anyone else, I don't need explanation, I don't need commentaries, then you can say yes. And this will be example of flowery Vedic scriptures. It gives like poetic, yeah, there's a knower, but actually knower consists like magnet. There's a magnet on a table, but magnet means the positive and negative, plus and minus. You know, one is attracting, one is, rejecting. So, in the same way. To clarify this, the Lord says that He is represented as Paramātmā in everybody. He is different from individual soul. He is para, transcendental. The individual soul enjoys activities of a particular field, but Supersoul is present not as a finite enjoyer, nor as a taking part in bodily activities, but as a witness, overseer, permitter, and supreme enjoyer. His name is Paramātmā, not Atma, and he is transcendental. It is distinctly clear that the Atma and Paramātmā are different. The Supersoul, the Paramātmā, has legs and hands everywhere, but the individual soul does not. And because the Paramātmā is the Supreme Lord, he is present within the sanction of individual souls desiring material enjoyment. Without the sanction of the Supreme Soul, individual soul cannot do anything. Nothing? Anything like zero? True? We are no like zero independence. We are like a puppet, Whatever Krishna wants, we move. We cannot do anything.
Yes.
Any stage? And sometimes we are a puppet of material energy. And Krishna is just at that time, he's just overseer, he's looking. Because we are working on the three gunas material nature. He doesn't need to control or help or anything. He just witnesses, Like a Prabhupada gave a class. If you go to high court and if you want to blame someone, put him in a prison, you need witness. How many witnesses you need? Depends on country. America sometimes one witness is okay. In India, how much witnesses you need? According to Manu Samhita, it depends how heavy is the crime. You need maybe 3 or 5 witnesses. Because if you want to condemn person to death or cast out from community, you can't believe just one person. You know? One person said, "Oh, I saw, that was him, and okay, you go out from country or go to prison. No, for serious crimes you need more witnesses. But because Krishna is supreme witness, him alone is good enough." Individual bhukta or sustained. The individual is bhukta or sustained, and Lord is bhokta or maintainer. They are innumerable living entities, and He is staying with them as a friend. Suhridam sarva bhutanam. I am friend of every living being, Krishna says. In fact, is that every individual living entity is eternally part and parcel of Supreme Lord. And both of them are very intimately related as friends. Do you feel you have a friend? Who feels he has a friend? You have a friend? In Brahmacharya ashram or inside? Yeah, so many friends, but if you have a friend in very high rankings, you know, it's different, you know. Just imagine, you go around and next time the chief police or municipality come with a car in a Krishna Mandir here, Krishna Bal Mandir, and he comes out of a car like, "Oh, Prabhuji, you're my friend, hi." That will be different. And we have friend which is in the most highest ranks. Mm-hmm. Yes, friend. But the living entity has a tendency to reject the sanction of Supreme Lord and act independently in an attempt to dominate nature. And because he has this tendency, he's called marginal energy of Supreme Lord. The living entity can be seated in either immaterial energy or spiritual energy. As long as he is conditioned by material energy, Supreme Lord, as his friend, the Supersoul stays with him just to get him out, to return to the spiritual energy. Lord is always eager to take him back to spiritual energy. But due to his minute, the tiny independence, the individual entity is continuing to rejecting the association of spiritual light. The misuse of independence is a cause of his material strife in conditioned nature. Strife means like long walk, morning walk. Not with Prabhupada. Just walk in a material energy. The Lord therefore is always giving instructions from within and from without. From without how? Well, within, okay, he's sitting there within the Supersoul. But from without, how he's giving?
He's controlling everything. But
No. Yeah, I understand. He's controlling, but he said that he is giving instructions from different directions from within as a Supersoul, but from without, from outside, how he gives? By Guru? Energy? Which energy? Usually this energy doesn't give an instruction. Devotees. Yeah. And the third one? Scriptures. Shastra. Yeah. Devotees. Guru, devotees. Guru, sadhu, shastra. 3. Because material energy cannot give us good example or good advice. Even we usually say, "Oh, this is material energy." But there is one material energy sitting here. How we call it? The mind. It's also material energy. Can we rely on that energy? No, we cannot. And usually there is not even advice, then there is a discussion. Somebody is talking, somebody is saying, no, it's not right. So there's two people sitting here, intelligence and mind, and they are having fight. Who is winning? And we're just listening, like, okay. Sometimes we listen to that one, sometimes we listen to this one. Yes, individual of the conditioned nature, mind. Within and without. Where was it? Without, he gives instructions as stated in Bhagavad Gita. And from within, he tries to convince living entity that activities of material field are not conducive to real happiness. Just give it up and turn your faith towards me. Then you'll be happy. He says, Supersoul says. Thus, the intelligent person who places his faith into Paramātmā of the Supreme Personality of God, it begins to advance towards the blissful, eternal life of knowledge. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Srimad Gopal Krishna Goswami Namne Prabhupada Sasaita Me Prakasadirja Prajam Kita Sadhu Bhagavanama. What's the problem with trying to find some happiness in material nature? We go to some beautiful mountain, summertime, lots of these flowers, how do you call them? Champa? Eh? This, who knows the flower, this flower? You don't know? Champa or champaka? Champa. Champaka is orange one, long one. So, you go to the champa forest, nice aroma, and just after rain, fresh air, some birds are chirping. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. What's wrong with it?
It is not permanent.
Not permanent. Well, more permanent what we are. We can go in that forest for 20, 30, 50, and die and still be there. Who cares it's not permanent? It lives longer than us. It's good enough. I have enjoyment for all my life. Even if it stays for 1,000 years, 10,000, that doesn't matter. I'm experiencing all my life. What's wrong with that?
Next.
What?
Next life.
Next life, yeah, maybe you become a tree. Because what you remember, you'll be born in that, If you're too much attached to the birds, you maybe become a bird, who knows? The problem with this is that we don't connect that thing to Krishna. Because Krishna expands. Krishna expands in two ways. He expands as a cause and a result. It's very nicely said, Usually there's a number. Just a few days ago there was a class. Same class Lokanath Maharaj gave about Radharani, and he said initially, he quoted the Chaitanya Charitamrita, initially was one. And then he was expanding as Radha Krishna, and then he joined again back as Lord Chaitanya. So this expansion means Lord and his energy. And his energy is very beautiful because he comes from Krishna. He's very beautiful. It's Radharani, original Adi Shakti, original energy. And then later on, everything expands, and finally expands to material energy, which is dull matter, doesn't have a consciousness. But because it expands from Krishna, he has qualities which are coming from God. I think we mentioned already one time, when you look at the colon, why the colon is so important? Because there's a strength. Krishna has a strong and there's a little bit of a strength in column. Krishna is maintainer and supporting everyone. And that column is supporting ceiling. Take off these columns and maybe the roof goes down and we're in danger. So when we see those things around us, we don't connect them to Lord. That's the problem. It's not like we connect and that's okay. It's already connected. It's already coming from Krishna. You know, the beauty of flowers, you know, sometimes said that the birds, we mentioned birds singing in the forest. The birds are artistic expression of Krishna. And it was unusual statement, which, you know, this Darwin theory. Everybody knows Darwin name? What was his idea? Not we come from monkeys, right? He didn't meet the Vrindavan monkeys, I guess. He was thinking about some monkeys in the zoo, you know, big ones and smart ones, you know. I'm not sure anybody would want to understand that that's my grandfather running around. So when he came across the most beautiful bird, which now is a peacock, he said, this one single bird ruins all my theory of development, you know, of progression. Because if you understand that the progression happens according to the one who is stronger, one who is more adapted to life, he is winning, you know. In a business, one who has more money, he wins the smaller businesses, you know. He just buys out, you know. Big companies, they grow bigger and they buy small companies off, you know. And you work for me now. Now I'm big boss, you know. But when we look at some things which have no deep meaning, how it can develop, the whole theory goes to zero. And one example is the same champa flower. You know why? What's the basic thing when you think of flower? It has a seed inside. Any flower, usually when it blooms, you know, and it finishes blooming, and then instead of flower starts growing some fruit. You know, you see mangoes blooming in the early spring. Nice, not too beautiful, not like this, but there's some flowers going on, and it finishes, and the bees come, they pollinate, and the seed comes out, and the fruit comes out. Apples, you know, bananas, you know, beautiful flower, like purple, deep, you know, thing goes, and then these yellow flowers coming out, and they turn to bananas. But this flower doesn't have a seed. So how come? And second thing, it doesn't have a honey. Also doesn't attract the bees. So how come? Nature creates such a thing which doesn't have a natural selection. So peacock with such a beautiful tail, you think, okay, it's needed. No, it's so perfect and artistic. Nature cannot create by its own unless there is one more creator. So if we understand that Supersoul is within everyone, the thing is, it expands, it creates material energy in such a beautiful way that we are getting amazed. But if we are getting amazed only because of nature and doesn't connect that there is an original creator inside, then we are getting only in the surface. And the surface is another name, external or material energy. From one side, Krishna is attracting, and he's willing to give us some enjoyment. Otherwise, we'll be completely bored. If he just creates something, you know, so disgusting, we'll be angry with God even more. Because Prabhupada gives here an example. We have this rebellious or ignoring or independent nature. We want to be independent from Krishna. And actually we are, right? Are we have independence? Prabhupada confirmed here. We have small independence. We have. We don't have to desire, I want to be independent. I am independent. But not completely. The child is independent. Just imagine you are 2 years old. Will you be sitting in one spot here? I don't think so. You'll be running around like crazy, jumping in the sofas and pulling dhotis by dhotis and everything, Yeah, he's independent. He can do whatever he wants, but the door is locked. He cannot go out. The window is locked. There is only this one, and for such a small child, there's enough space to work around. He has family members, 5, 10 sitting. Somebody is watching TV. Somebody is touching phone. Somebody is reading. Somebody is meditating. Somebody is eating, and he has a variety. Okay, I'm sick with that guy. I'm going to speak with that guy. I interact with other one. Why is it saying the child can be raised by a whole village? For a child properly to be raised, you need a whole village. So he has interactions with different type of people. He understands relationships. This is the most important in spiritual life. Relationships, not with the matter, but with real living beings around them. So there is independence. And when we have independence, how big is our independence? Not this room. How big size is our independence? The whole universe. Millions and millions of miles. We can go this planet and that planet, and still the Supersoul will be accompanying us, going with us. Same like, the same police guy comes here in a temple, and what happens? The top guys, the president, vice president, everybody, they go with him, and show around the temple. It's there, this is our deity kitchen, this is that, the apartment, this is restaurant, so. Same way, Krishna has created universe. He has created, not directly, he gave instructions to Brahma, but according to his ideas and plans. And when he goes around, he says, okay, looks beautiful, and he gives direction. All the living beings start to be born in the universe. And he sits next to each other. Millions and billions of living entities. Each of them is accompanied by this Supersoul. And what he does, he just says, okay, I give you legs, I give you mind, just go wherever you want. And when you are bored, maybe you turn to me. If not, you just walk around, I don't care. You enjoy your good results, your bad results. For me, it's not good and bad. For me, it's just a room, For me, it's the enjoyment there in a deity department, in terms of deities. That's my enjoyment. But here, just for a child to run around, have some fun. So when he's running around and just tired, then he sits in the father and like, okay, let's go somewhere else. And what way you want to go? What is your desire? Krishna is willing to fulfill everybody's desire. But if you don't have proper observation how people interact, you don't understand what I want. Because you sit here, and after class, everybody goes somewhere directions. And if they don't follow your foot, I don't know where you're going. So child has to stick to someone. So that sticking to someone means sticking to the devotee. And you start to understand where everybody is going. And that's usually in a certain type of lifetime, and there's a need to go. For example, vanaprasthas, like me, is prescribed to travel around different holy places. Why that? To see different types of devotees, right? And see how they're worshipping, how they have interaction to each other, which company you like and which company is boring, which they just are Vadi bhaktas, they do according to the scriptures, but they don't care who is around, I had this experience in one Europe temple. I don't want to mention which temple, but I went there. I was staying for 1 week. And there was one, well, he was like 4 or 5 years around, devotee, initiated devotee. But when he was passed by, he was passing by very grave. He was so absorbed in his seva. He didn't say even Hare Krishna to anyone. He just passed by from his ashram to his seva and back. He was so absorbed. Is it good or not? Well, it's good. But if you don't associate with devotees and don't say Hare Krishna and pay some respect, so you can stay in that Kanishta level very, very long time. What is the qualities of Kanishka devotee? He sees the deity, the Krishna in the deity, but he doesn't see the devotee and doesn't see the Supersoul even. What to speak of real Krishna? He doesn't see the Supersoul, never he love it. Because if you see a deity there, but you don't see deity as a Supersoul in the heart of everyone, you don't show respect. You just show respect to the temple and you go out like everybody's like. You don't have any spiritual vision. It's like moving, Sometimes, you go in the same mountain and forest, you see some rock is starting to fall, rain is going and then some rocks start to falling, rolling down. And you just move around, Rock is falling down from the mountain, you just move around. In the same way, you go in a temple and there's some big rock, dressed in a dhoti and sari, walking around and you just move around, That's it, For him, it's just big rock moving. There's no personal relationships. It doesn't care. So, for 1 week, I was in that temple, and he was passing by. Never said Hare Krishna. Never said, "How are you?" I never knew his name. He never asked my name. So this is not proper devotee relationships. And if a child is so absorbed in himself, it's also no good. Maybe he's saint, maybe he's a little bit of a kind of person who is Atmaram, completely absorbed in himself, but this is not Krishna. If Krishna is our Atmaram, he is alone. And since we are here, that means Krishna has expanded in us an energy, so he's not in the mood of Atmaram. He wants the relationships. But he cannot force relationships on us unless we want it. So therefore he shows nice environment. And after a while we're thinking, who created the whole thing? Who created the flowers? Even have a crazy theory that everything happens by chance, a big bang, everything was, exploding and then all planets came about and just like happened and living beings came around. It doesn't happen. It's such a small chance. Prabhupada gave such a nice example. Just imagine a huge ocean. Have you seen ocean? Who have seen ocean? Have you swum in ocean? No, Indians don't usually swim. I was working as a tour guide in Thailand. And from India, if you go right side, there's Andaman Islands and it's called Andaman Sea. So other side of Andaman Sea is a beach in Thailand. So we go every day with the tourists, go swimming. But not just swimming. We go snorkeling and diving, You put those glasses on, and you have a tube in the mouth and you just jump, Not everybody jump, Even if you're a good swimmer, if you understand, underneath mirror there's like 500 meters, not 2 meters, not like Yamuna, like 3-5 meters, but like 200, 500 meters, 1 kilometer deep. You don't jump, Still, I was jumping and like, okay, come with me. And you swim in such ocean, you understand the vastness and deepness of the water. And Prabhupada gave example. Just imagine, in the bottom of that ocean lives a turtle, kurma. On the surface of the water, there's a piece of wood floating on the waves. And that piece of wood, somehow, by arrangement, maybe there was a branch or something, there's a hole. A big piece of wood and there's a hole. And just imagine, the ocean is all Indian Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, huge. They all join them all together. And there's one piece of wood floating somewhere by the wind, and then there's one tortoise, one turtle somewhere. And if that turtle comes up, swims, and wants to breathe air, what is the chance that tortoise in a big, big ocean will swim out and will hit the piece of wood and stick his head out in a hole of the wood? What's the chance? How much chance is there? So this is the same chance if you imagine that the whole material energy will be rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, and living being comes out. Actually, it's impossible. Because, why? Because the source has to be more advanced or inclusive of those qualities which is in the result. There's many examples like that. But the principle is very simple. You cannot have something in a result if there is something not in the source. Just imagine if you put the water on the fire. So if the fire is cold, can you expect the water become hot? No. If there is no heat in the fire, how the water will become hot? No. So if the sun is cold, how we will feel the heat, If you have 100 rupee note and then you go to the shop and somebody says, oh, I give you change, that means the change that was inside of those 100 rupees. So if there is no consciousness in the matter, doesn't matter how much the energy will be rubbing and boiling, whatever happening in material nature, living being cannot come out of it. It is impossible. Therefore, Prabhupada had this book. Life comes from life, right? So consciousness comes from consciousness. And if the consciousness doesn't want to be here anymore, what happens? Us, as a small conscious living beings, we also cannot be conscious. Because, first of all, the senses are given by Lord, right? The eyes are given by Lord. They're not perfect. You switch off the light, you don't see anything. But when the light is there, we can see. Krishna provides light. Even in the spiritual world, it's said, there is no need of light. Every planet gives a light. So always you can see. You don't have a darkness there. But material world it is. So if Krishna doesn't want, he says, enough experience, and he leaves the body, we have to leave also. Even on our own, we cannot maintain this body. And this is kshetra. We are conscious of this body only because Krishna gives us consciousness. From me comes this consciousness. It says, okay, remembrance and forgetfulness, but even consciousness comes from Krishna. So if we want to be conscious, we are happily. And if we don't want, what we do? We fall asleep. In the evening, we desire, we are tired, I don't want to be conscious anymore. I want to have a rest. So when for long years of material experience, he had enough. I don't want to have anything. So there's two options. Either Krishna provides us the devotional path, or he says, okay, creation is finished, let's go back to the body of Vishnu. And he winds up all the material energy and sucks in all the living beings back to his body. And they sleep. Sometimes they sleep for night of Brahma. Sometimes they sleep before next pralaya, next creation of universes, when again Vishnu expands, So therefore, we have to really, really understand that Krishna is willing to spend with us time as much as we need to turn our face to Him. Because we are in material world only because we tried to misuse our independence in the wrong way. Independence is good. This is our nature, to be independent, but in a proper way. If a child is independent and he's running all around a room but doesn't come to his father, something wrong with it. He has a authority issue. But he is maybe running to his grandfather. So grandfather is not giving any problems to child. He's always merciful. So for us, therefore, our spiritual life is more easy. Because whatever our spiritual master may be strict with us, he gives us instruction, do like this, don't do like this. But if we go to Prabhupada, he is full of mercy. He is our spiritual grandfather. And after all, Krishna is grandfather. So he's most merciful. So therefore, whatever we are reading these scriptures of Bhagavad Gita, the main purpose is we should turn our face back to Krishna, who is sitting next to us all the time, and try to do our best. Give some pleasure to Him, and we'll see the result. When we try to give something with our small hands, how much we give? When Krishna is the Supreme Lord, when He tries to give, we will not have a chance to take it all. This is the principle of interaction. We give one step and Krishna gives 10 steps back. Okay, let's summarize. We didn't get to Vasudeva actually. Yeah. Vasudeva is such a philosophical point of this whole thing. If there's these four, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Niruddha soul, usually Supersoul is understood to be sitting next to us. And this is our sambandha, our basic knowledge, understanding. Chitta, Chitishvara, all these basic understandings of Bhagavad Gita. And then there is a goal, Aniruddha. And then there's Pradyumna, the mood. And finally, the action is one which gives us the real experience. We can try to meditate. But if you meditate on deities or come in front of deities and look at them, is it different, right? You have a photo of your wife, or a photo of your children, and you actually meet those children and wife. Is it different? Is it different? Sure. So therefore, the real experience, the spiritual experience comes with the interaction, with the action, and that is represented by Vasudeva. Also, it is said that there's a primary and secondary expansions, and primary expansions, Vasudeva is responsible from about the pastimes. Because there's a situation, Balarama, he is setting up the field. We know he created Vrindavan, right? He expanded himself as Vrindavan for Krishna's pleasure. And then there's a mood, attraction, inspiration, which is Pradyumna. Now he's represented as a Cupid, real love there. Love is not enough. You have to express love. So this action is expressed through the idea of Vasudeva. And the goal, what you want to achieve, the happiness of Krishna is Aniruddha. So all these four principles are there. If you understand Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana, these principles will be going always. The Supersoul is our Sambandha, our friend, Bandhu. And what you want to achieve? Krishna's Vrindavan, that's Aniruddha, the goal. And what we should do? We should do some seva. As today Prabhu explained. Even in Gurukula, if you know, there's maybe not anymore, but old days there was this Bhakti Shastri course. And when you have final exam, You passed all your tests and essays and everything. Final exam, all the students come to the big box. Big, huge box. And then, oh, what's inside? What's inside? And inside there's a brooms, for sweeping the floor. So final mark, all days in the 80s, there was the first Bhakti Shastri courses, was given by teacher. Okay, this is 20 by 20 meters. You should sweep this part of the school. And by that, how good you do it will be shown what is your final mark of your Bhakti Shastri test. That's proper. That's application. That's a Vasudev. That's a real work, how you do. That is test. Unless you start seva, there's no way. I know this nice example. One of the Prabhupada disciples, he was every day, oh, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. And he comes in, oh, Jai Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, go do something useful. Yes, from some stage it's good, but this glorification of Guru should come to the terms of service to him, something useful. And most deep, if you meditate on Guru, you understand his mood, his goal, what is his mission. Prabhupada understood the mission of his spiritual master. He wanted to preach all over the world. And he took that seriously. And because he was so convinced, so absorbed in that, Krishna gave him all facilities. Up to that some people in this movement, and outside even ISKCON movement, consider Prabhupada Shakti Avesh Avatar. The Shakti was given by Krishna, and there's no doubt about it. Everybody is getting Shakti. Even we getting Shakti. But we are not Avatar. We are just small Shaktis. There's Shakti and Shaktiman, So therefore, I encourage everybody, give up attachment to this dull matter, which only reflecting the qualities of Krishna, understand how they connected to Krishna, and this whole thing, understanding, finally should come to the realization and application of the service. Because from service comes the final, what we are looking for. This is experience. We don't meditate, we don't think, we don't educate, but we do seva, and from seva comes real experience, and gradually that experience grows into the devotion and finally love of Godhead, which we all want so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any questions, any comments, please? No? Thank you. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo.